Hi there. You know, with the way food prices are these days, whenever I come across a 99 cent per pound deal on a chicken at Price Chopper or pretty much anywhere else, I make certain to jump on it. And that gives us an excuse to make a roast chicken this afternoon. So that's exactly what we're doing. And that also gives us an excuse to take out a very special cast iron pan, a number 10 size, 12-inch Griswold cast iron skillet. We'll be roasting this chicken in this cast iron skillet, and the good thing about using cast iron is we get to preheat the pan in advance. That way we're going to be putting the chicken onto the hot cast iron here, and that will help to cook the underside of the chicken, namely the dark meat, faster than the top side of the chicken. And so let's get this cast iron pan into the oven. And preheat the oven to 450 degrees. That will give us a good sear to the underside of the chicken when we first put it in the pan. However, we're not talking about politics tonight. We are in fact talking about roasting a chicken in a cast iron skillet. Because why not? Well, actually, there's a good reason why not. I got a good price on a whole chicken this afternoon. So this is as good an excuse as any to roast a chicken. And that means we're going to prepare an herb butter for it, which is probably one of the easiest ways, really, to season a chicken. So we have, obviously, some softened butter. And to this, let's throw in, I'm eyeballing it, a little bit of salt, a little bit of coarse ground pepper. You can use pepper powder if you like, but I think coarse ground pepper is better. A little bit of the old garlic powder, or since I'm originally from New England, garlic powder. And finally, to add some real kick and also a little bit of color, let's throw in some zatarans. Why not? After all, I mean, we can certainly do this when we do seafood boils. So might as well throw in this into our chicken. There we go. That should definitely, as Emerald says, kick it up a notch. That's also going to give an interesting color to this chicken, especially when we roast it in a cast iron pan. Now it's time to bring out the chicken. Anyway, this is going to be a nice and simple roast chicken. I'm not going to spatchcock it or anything fancy. Although I can see I am going to actually have to open this over the sink, you know, because there is some liquid that's gonna drain. And now I guess is a good time to talk about washing off the chicken. You know, there are a lot of authorities who actually say that's really not necessary. Because number one, we're going to be roasting this chicken in a hot oven, and that's going to kill any nasties that are on it. And number two, rinsing off the chicken really does not get anything that's under the skin, and furthermore, it spreads all of those little chicken nasties all over the sink and all over the kitchen. So I'm actually not especially worried about that. I did put the chicken board over there, you know, just to make sure it doesn't get too messy. Let me see. This one does not have any giblets in it. No, it does not. And yes, I'll be washing my hands as well. Wash my hands off exactly as I said. Doing this a couple times. All we really have to do is pat this chicken dry and then prepare that herb butter. Which, as I said, nothing to it. Put these wings back. Or try to put these wings back. This isn't a turkey, so the wings are a little smaller, but it looks like I think we can manage it. There's one. And the other. Yeah. There we go. Like right now. Well. And now here comes the fun part. The part that could very well get us kicked off of TikTok Live. You know, because of what we're about to do to this chicken. Namely, we are sticking our fingers underneath the skin and spreading it out. so that we can get that butter under the skin. Don't want to tear it, of course. I try to do this in 2 parts and leave this part down the center here untouched. It looks like I might be tearing the skin already, so I do have to be a little more careful. A little bit in here, a little bit there, and that should do. So here comes the herb butter, which means get my hands nice and greasy here, smear that butter underneath that skin, and a little bit more while we're at it. We should use it all, no need to be shy. And a little bit more. There we go. I'm sure the skin is probably going to shrink, so it's likely that it will, that there will be a gap, which means now let's take this herb butter and smear it all over the chicken. Yeah, I'm going to wash my hands again, not to worry. This is the part where some people might say, ew. But the simple fact is, food prep is icky. There's just no way around it. Here's a hint, folks. If you have never done your Thanksgiving turkey yourself, this shows you how easy it is. You might want to get a chicken and just practice this, and then do the same thing on your Thanksgiving turkey. It's that easy. And in fact, now that we've done that, let's sprinkle a little bit more of this Cajun seasoning over the chicken. Now, I'm not sure how much of it is going to stay, since after all, this is butter and it is going to melt. But with any luck, it should be, at least some of it should be absorbed into the chicken. Especially if, be sure to put some of it inside, which I probably should have even done before I smeared the butter on it. Now comes the star of the show. Well, the other star of the show. One star of the show is the chicken. The other, we are about to see. Haha. This is a number 10 sized vintage cast iron skillet. And assuming I don't burn myself, I should probably show you. This is made by Griswold, so it's considered to be one of the finest cast iron pans ever made. And so I'm quite happy to be using it to do this chicken. But rather than waste our time, let's do it. Ready, set. Oh, yeah. I have one last important thing to do to this chicken before we get it into the oven. And that would be to bring out a probe thermometer. Let's carefully get this into the breast. There we go. That seems pretty good. Okay, there we go. Yeah, okay, looks like it is shrinking, so that's good. All right, let us set the temperature for 155 degrees, and there's a reason why. Actually, I don't even want it that high. I want it about 120 degrees, and the reason why I'm setting it that low is because it is not going to be finished cooking. After we get this thing to 120 degrees, then we will turn the temperature up in order to properly brown the skin. So now that we've done that, let's get this over to the oven. In we go. And this goes in. We turn the oven temperature down from 450 degrees down to a nice and easy, say 275. So that this chicken can slow roast until it reaches 120 degrees. After that, we will bump the temperature back up to 400 or maybe 425 to finish cooking the chicken and give it a brown skin. Oh, that's good. I can see the probe thermometer is properly inserted because at times when I have inserted that thermometer, the temperature just seems to start jumping upwards immediately, which means that wasn't inserted right. This time it seems more stable. Given all that, I would estimate this will probably take anywhere from an hour to maybe a little bit more to get to 120 degrees. At which point then, again, we will raise the temperature. All right. First, let's set the target temperature now for, let's say about 157, 158, and I'll explain why in a moment. Say 58 just to be safe. And now, let us bump the oven temperature to 425 in order to crisp the skin and get this chicken cooked fast. Now, I know common wisdom says that you're supposed to cook your chicken to 165 degrees to instantly kill bacteria and other nasties, but it has indeed been proven that you can cook your chicken to as low as 150 degrees, although I'm not sure I still trust that. The idea is you let it rest for at least several minutes in order to gradually kill all the bacteria. So because of that, I'm compromising and doing a point between 150 and 165. That should be safe enough. And furthermore, carryover cooking anyway is going to bring this chicken up to probably like maybe about 163 or maybe even 165. So there we go. All right. Oh, man. I knew the skin was going to tear up here. That was my own fault, but that's all right. So now that we've done that, now comes part two, the gravy. Come on. That always seems to happen. There we go. Haha. All right. Okay, that means we have got a whole lot of butter and chicken juices in this pan. Might even have to drain a little bit of it. Let's cover the chicken with foil. Curses, foiled again. And the chicken will rest. And this should allow carryover cooking to take its temperature up to the 165 mark. But now, it's time for the gravy. Oh yes, I've got the heat on medium, which is, of course, as you can see, this is keeping this at a keeping this nice and bubbly. But let's start by getting grease all over everything. However, let's actually start by removing the fond. You know, the tasty bits, the bits that everybody likes. I'm not sure. We may not have to use, may not have to drain some of this liquid, so this might be fine. Kind of spread these little pieces of chicken and a little bit of skin out. I don't think we have to throw in a lot of butter. I'm only going to throw in a quarter stick, only about 2 tablespoons of butter. And yeah, just like a roux, gotta keep stirring because I do not want this to burn. I have been practicing for years trying to get a good gravy. I'm at the point where I can do a decent gravy. Don't think I've done a world-class gravy yet, but there's always the first time. Throw in the usual about a 1/4 cup or so of flour. That should be enough. And get started. Namely, we have to whisk in the flour and cook it so that it doesn't have a floury taste. Actually, the thing about cast iron is it tends to make a very, very thick gravy. I hope I have enough broth, in fact. Like so. Looks like all we need to do now is let it reduce. Yeah, I think I should probably put in... I don't think we need any more salt. So in that case, let's do the taste test. See whether it needs anything. As they say, when it coats the back of a spoon, we're good. So once again, here comes the taste test. Definitely does not need more salt. It might very well be good on its own, I think, in fact. So that sure didn't take long. In that case, we have our gravy. This chicken has everything we could ask for. It's tender, the skin is crisp, and it's bursting with juices. Top it with the gravy, and you really can't ask for anything else. In addition to being a wonderful roast chicken, you can even consider this a hint of what Thanksgiving would be like if you use this method to make your roast turkey.